This question shows us a number line and asks which point shows the location of -1/4 on the number line. To make sense of this problem, we're going to study this number line a little bit more, and we're going to compare it with a model that we used in class to be able to better understand fractions, the fraction kit. All right, so let's take a look, first of all, the number line. Right in the middle of the number line, in this particular number line, we have the number 0. One of the things that means for us is that the numbers to the right of 0 are going to be positive. We can see we have a +1/2 and a +1 on the right side of 0. On the left side, going in the other direction, all of those numbers are going to be negative numbers. So we have -1/2 that we can see and -1. And all the other numbers that continue going in the direction of that arrow are going to be negative numbers. All right, so now let's take a look at the fraction kit that we built in class and match it up with this number line. The first thing that we did in creating the fraction kit is to create a piece that was a one-whole piece. That represented one whole. And as we can see up here, we've aligned this one whole piece so that it matches up from 0 and extends all the way over to 1. So the one whole equals 1, and that makes sense. The next size piece that we made was a 1/2 piece. And so there are two 1/2 pieces that fit inside of the one whole. They're two even-sized pieces. And we can see that the 1/2 on the number line up above matches up with the edge of the 1/2 piece. Another 1/2 piece we put together, and that's going to be the same size as the one whole. If we look up above, we have the 1 on the edge of the one whole, and then that's the same size as the two 1/2 pieces down below. So 2 halves, 2 over 2, equals 1 whole on the number line. The next size piece that we created in creating our fraction kit was a 1/4 piece. And we can see the 1/4 piece is half the size of the 1/2. So half of 1/2 is 1/4. And two of those 1/4 pieces together matches up with the 1/2. There are 4 altogether that are going to be the same size as the one whole. So 1 whole, or 1, is the same as 2 halves. It's the same size as 4 fourths. So, and our kit was a little bit bigger than this, but we can stop right here for today. This is going to be able to help us solve this problem and better understand this number line here that we're given. So let's look at some of the letters that we have up above. We have P, Q, R, S. And what do those align with? What numbers do those represent? If we look at S, S going down matches up with 3 of the 1/4 pieces. So 3/4 is the same as S. S equals 3/4. 3/1/4 or 3/4. And R matches up. We take an arrow going down. It matches up with 1 of those 1/4 pieces. So R is going to represent 1/4. So this is the positive side of our number line. Now we can do the same thing on the other side and create a fraction kit that can match up with the negative side of our number line. So let's go step over to the dark side, the negative side, and we can create a -1 whole piece, which is the same size. You see, it looks the same, except it's on the negative side of the number line. It's the same as the 1 whole piece. And -1 lines up with the edge of that -1 whole piece. We can do the same thing over here with 1/2. We have a -1/2, and that lines up, as we can see down from the number line below, a line extending down. That -1/2 equals -1/2 on the number line up above. 2 of those -1/2 is going to be the same as a -1. -1 equals -2 over 2. -2 halves is the same as -1. And we can continue with those 1/4 pieces. We can make them negative as well. -1/4, -2/4, -3/4, -4/4. And just as it was in the positive side, we can see that -4/4 is the same as -1 and -2 halves. All right, so we've gone ahead and built our two fraction kits on either side of 0 on our number line. Now we can go and find out what the measurements are for these last two unidentified points, point P and Q. We can see that P is going to line up with 3 of the negative 1/4. So P equals negative 3/4. That is what P is on the number line. And with a negative 1/4, that is going to line up perfectly with the Q on the number line up above. And that was the question that we started with at the very beginning. Which point shows the location of negative 1/4 on the number line? And that would be Q. So Q equals negative 1/4. Building this fraction kit and putting it together, matching it up with this number line can help us see more clearly, more readily, what the different missing points are on a number line that you may find when you're taking the California Standards Test this spring, or whatever test you may be taking in the future. If you can look and think about the fraction kits that we've made and put them on top of the number line in your imagination, that can help you better solve the problems that you may face. As soon as you understand this model and this question, go ahead and try the practice problem that is grouped with this problem on the homework quiz for this week.